Yes, yes, the Castlenovians. Yes, yes, the Castlenovians. Alright, what we're going to do in this stream is we're going to go balls deep on how to reinvent your dating life in 2026, even if you think it's too late for you. So, yeah, this is going to be a meaty stream, but my vision going into 2026 is I just want to change the lives of so many men, yeah? So if you're somebody who wants to completely reinvent themselves in the new year, if you know deep down you're capable of more, not just with women, but your life in general, the money you're making, the life you live in, the places that you're traveling to, if you know deep down you're capable of more and you've got the drive, the desire, and the determination to make 2026 your breakthrough year, despite all of the shit that you've gone through, right? All the obstacles you've had to overcome, whoever you've been in the past, whatever mistakes you've made, the promises you've broken to yourself. What I want to do in 2026 is I want to just help you as much as possible to reinvent yourself. I want every single guy who wants to be successful in dating to be successful in dating. So before we even get into the content, for those of you who do not know, I've just launched a free school community, and the purpose of this community is simple. I've taken over 60 hours of my very best cold approach content, and I put it all into one easy to access place. So if you've been watching me for the past 6 months, then there's over 5 years of content that you've probably not seen. And it can be difficult to know which videos to watch, which videos are the most valuable, because the most popular videos are not always the most valuable. So what I've done is I put this free school community together rather than hiding my best kept secrets behind a paywall, rather than being like, oh, charge you $99 a month. No, it's all fucking free, right? So if you're somebody and you want to master the art of daytime cold approach in 2026, you want to reinvent yourself, you want to become the most capable, fuckable version of you, first link below this video, you can access the free school community right now. There's over 60 hours now of my best cold approach content, and I'm adding more content to it every single day as well. We've almost got 100 guys in there right now. And I would say the guys who are in there right now, they're going to be the guys who get ahead in 2026. Because not only are you getting my best in-field content, you're able to see client transformation series, you're able to see early videos of me approaching in the field. Because the thing with all my content, I think the reason why I am a credible source when it comes to reinvention is I'm basically the poster boy of personal renaissance. Yeah, if you go back and watch the oldest videos on my channel, I've reinvented myself time and time and time again. When I first started making videos, you already know, I was a porn addict. I had erectile dysfunction. I was living in a grotty apartment in central Leeds. I was working a dead-end job for minimum wage. No woman wanted to fuck me. So in a short space of time, relatively, I've gone from who I was back then to the person who's speaking to you today. And understand, none of this has happened by luck, it's happened by design. So if you want to reinvent yourself in 2026, you want to master the art of daytime communication because you're probably sick of nightclubs, you don't want to be an NPC who's swiping his life away on a screen, settling for mediocre matches, you don't want to shag Susie through your social circle, oi oi Susie, then this is the movement that we're creating here. Yeah, so many guys today are victims of what I call the Great Sedation. Yeah, the Great Sedation is a system which is designed to keep you as a static spectator in your own life, right? Every ad that you see, every app that you scroll, every excuse that you tell yourself, it's all part of the sinister plot to keep you stuck. And every time you don't approach that woman stone cold sober during the daytime, what you're effectively saying is, hey, I'm happy being an NPC, non-playable character. I'm happy being a programmable pawn. Oh, be a good boy. Ask for permission when you're allowed to go for a shit. Daytime cold approach, the thing that I teach, is not just about women. It's about self-reinvention. It's the most aggressive form of self-development. If you are putting yourself out there right now, you've rejected being a programmable pawn. You've rejected doing what you're told. For you, cold approach is more than just talking to women. It's a 2 middle finger salute to a society that wants to keep you shackled. All that content in the school community is going to resonate deeply with you. It's all free. Go get it. It's right in there now. First link below this video, you can access over 60 hours of my best cold approach content, and that's going to give you an unfair advantage going into the new year. Whilst most guys are slacking off, they're getting lazy, they've got plump over the festive period, if you're positively brainwashing yourself right now with the content that I've already done the heavy lifting, all you need to do is watch it and then go implement it, then in the new year, you're already going to be light years ahead. So first link below this video, get into the school community, over 60 hours of my best cold approach content. I'm adding new content to it every day. I'm also going to be removing certain videos from YouTube. So this is going to be the exclusive hub for my best content. I'm also going to be hosting monthly webinars in the new year as well. So obviously we're doing live streams right now, but it's a one-way communication. Yeah, you can't interact with me in real time. So in the new year, inside the school community, what we're going to do is I'm going to host monthly live webinars where you can come along, you can ask me direct questions based around your unique situation. I can give you individually tailored advice, what I would do if you were one of my clients. So this is where everything's going to be in the new year. It's for guys who want to get ahead, guys who want to reinvent themselves, and guys who just want to dominate the dating game in 2026 and beyond. So yeah, there's an immense amount of value in those first 5 minutes. Let's get into the topic, how to reinvent yourself, as well as getting access to the school community. What else can you do to reinvent yourself? So the first thing that I would suggest, and this is one of those things that when I say it, you're probably thinking, oh, I wasn't expecting him to start with that one. The first thing that I would suggest for anybody who wants to reinvent themselves is to begin with radical forgiveness. Okay? Because the thing that really allowed me to flourish, despite the fact 5 years ago I was a porn addict, I was a low-life loser, my apartment was infected by cockroaches, I was just a disgusting mess. Again, all those videos on my channel, go back, take a look at the loser that I used to be. A lot of people, what I found to be true after working with over 200 guys and teaching them the art of daytime cold approach, which is just talking to people, by the way, a lot of guys are carrying shame, yeah? And until you forgive yourself for the fuck-ups you've made in the past, it will be very difficult for you to reinvent yourself. It almost feels like you're pushing a boulder up a really steep hill. There's resistance there. It feels hard. It feels difficult. So what I want you to do from this moment right now, don't postpone it, don't delay it, don't fucking write it off for another time. In this moment, with me right now, I want you to forgive yourself. Okay, I want you to forgive yourself for all the mistakes you've made, all the promises you've broken, all of the excuses you've told yourself, all the times when you said to yourself, today's the day, I'm gonna walk out, I'm gonna do some cold approaches, and then, oh, you didn't do it, right? Maybe the excuses rolled in. Oh, she looks busy. Oh, I should wait for a better moment. Oh, I'll get the next one. I'll do it tomorrow. And every time you don't approach, you lose confidence in yourself. And it goes deeper than just your dating life, right? You lose confidence in your ability to lead. You lose confidence and faith in your ability to get the things that you want. Every time you break a promise to yourself, it impacts you and you can feel it. Despite all of this, right, despite all of the shit that you've gone through, despite all of the traumas of your childhood, despite all of the nonsense that you've experienced, what I want you to do right now is make a decision that you forgive yourself, yeah? You forgive yourself. Because until you've made peace with the past, you can't fall in love with your future. Until you've made peace with the past, you cannot fall in love with your future. Because it'll feel like you're still pushing that boulder up that really steep hill, and it'll feel as though you'll convince yourself that more effort is the answer. You'll convince yourself that more content is the answer. You'll convince yourself more motivation, more action. That's the answer. But what you'll find, and I call this concept identity gravity, okay? Identity gravity is when your nervous system pulls you back to an idea of you who you haven't fully escaped from. Okay, so if you imagine something like gravity, yeah, you can't see it, but it's this invisible force which pulls things down to the ground. Gravity works the same way. Even if you do make progress, your subconscious will find a way to sabotage it and bring you back to where you were. And until you forgive yourself for all the bullshit you've gone through, then you'll keep getting clawed back. Even if you are making progress, even if you do have a few good days, your nervous system will not allow you to fully outgrow your past. So the first thing, if you want to reinvent yourself in 2026, forgive yourself, right? This is what I did. When I was the broke, porn-addicted loser, and I hated my life, I hated myself, I felt like a failure. I hadn't achieved anything notable in my entire life. I'd worked dead-end jobs. I worked in a safari zoo. I was cleaning lemur shit off toilets. I stacked shelves in supermarkets. I was once a lifeguard in America in 2017. Not a lot of people know that about me. But I never felt as though I'd actualized what I was capable of. And I remember when I was in my grotty apartment 5 years ago and I realized nobody was coming to save me, I realized the thing that was holding me back was a lack of forgiveness. So before we even talk about the tactical things, before we even talk about what you can be doing in a practical sense, nothing will change until you've made peace with the person that you used to be. And a really simple mindset. I don't know about you, but I can struggle with this side of things because I would say I'm a crushingly cruel commentator of myself. I'm very harsh on myself. I've got this demonic inner critic that won't allow me to absorb some of these pieces of advice. But imagine you've got a child, yeah? And imagine your child makes a mistake. You're not going to be a ruthless dictator, right? You're going to accept, hey, this is a child. He's made a mistake. He's still learning. But we're all carrying a broken child inside of us, yeah? I think it was Freud. The adult is developed to protect the child. So the adult we become is designed to protect the child that we once were. So when you're finding yourself struggling in life with women, making business decisions, when you're met with uncertainty, a lot of times you're negotiating with your inner child. A lot of times that child inside of you just needs reassurance. Oftentimes we just need to be a parent to ourselves. So whenever you see that woman on the street and you want to approach her and your heart's racing, your mind's spiraling, you're thinking of all the excuses under the sun, all you need to do in these moments is reassure that broken, lost little child inside of you who maybe didn't get the approval that he needed growing up. All you need to do is say, listen, I've got us. It's okay. Whoever we've been in the past, we're making a difference now. We're making a change. Because this is a real battle, yeah? We all have this child inside of us that craves validation, veneration, that craves universal approval, yeah? I had a weird childhood growing up. I've talked about that at length on different pieces of content. And whenever I've been in situations that cause me trouble, I can feel like that child inside of me kicking and screaming. That doesn't want to do it. That doesn't want to be seen as weird, as like a social outcast. Or what are people going to think of me? Oh, what if we get the spotlight put onto us? Or what if we attract disapproval? But the best thing, or the first thing that you can do, is just make peace with all of it. Yeah, just this moment in time, just say to yourself, listen, I made the decision today to forgive myself. Yeah, all I did was, I was just doing the best with the information I had. And if you can make that decision and you can have emotional resonance behind it, like you actually mean it, you actually mean that forgiveness to yourself, I guarantee everything from this point forward will feel effortless. It will feel like the deeper you go with your sense of forgiveness, and I'd say make this a daily practice as well. Daily practice, forgiveness, allow yourself, and just feel how lighter your energy gets. Just feel your shoulders start to relax. As you forgive yourself, you go deeper and deeper and deeper. You forgive. It's okay. I forgive. Because if you don't do this, then you're going to continue to push that boulder up the really steep hill, and you're going to search for tactics rather than truths. Because it's not the perfect line. It's not the conversational gambit. It's not your text game, dude. This is where so many guys get it twisted. They think it's one thing. They think the reason why they struggle with dating or cold approach is because their text game is bad, or their open is weak, or their conversations are not lasting long enough. There's a reason, and then there's a real reason, because the real reason why so many men today are struggling is not to do with their texting. It's not to do with their conversational skills. It's not to do with the conviction they've got going into their conversations. These are symptoms. They're not the real reason. The real reason is shame. Is not fully accepting yourself. Is not fully having trust in your own capabilities, because maybe you continue to break promises to yourself. You do not have dating problems. You've got personal problems. And until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. That's Carl Jung. So forgive yourself. I know I've gone a long time on this topic, but this is the thing that'll give you a breakthrough. Yeah? Because if you can learn to give yourself radical forgiveness like you would for a child, it's going to separate you. It's going to make you feel different. You're going to feel more light. Yeah? Rather than walking around, you've got this tightness in your chest. You might wake up in the mornings and you just get hit with this feeling of anxiety and dread and fear. A lot of times, it's just a lack of forgiveness. Okay? So forgive yourself. All the shit you've made. You can even write a letter to yourself as well. This is an exercise that I've gave to my clients in the past. Just write down all the things that you've done, like all the things that you wish you hadn't, the regrets that you have. Write it all down on a piece of paper. Maybe you fucked people over in the past. Maybe you're in relationships that went on too long. Maybe you lied. Maybe you pretended to be something you weren't. Maybe you had situations with women in the past that if you were to repeat these again, you would do something differently. But the problem is, a lot of us carry these thoughts and these regrets like dirty laundry in a dirty tumble dryer. And it just goes round and round and round. And then what we do is we distract ourselves with shiny objects. Oh, I'll watch another piece of content. Oh, I'll go to the gym. Oh, I'll do an approach. There's nothing wrong with doing these things, like take action. But if you haven't taken that dirty laundry out of the dirty tumble dryer and it's continuing to going round and round and round, attracting more and more shit, then all you're doing is you're presenting this shame in all the actions that you take. And that's why it feels like something's missing. That's why it feels like no matter what you do, you still don't feel enough. You still don't feel complete. A lot of times it's because you haven't truly forgive yourself. And it's a daily practice. It's not just a do it once and forget about it. No, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And reiteration is very much consolidation. So if you want to, if it makes you feel better, if you prefer practical exercises, write a letter to yourself. Write down a letter to former lovers, to former family members. Have the conversations now that you wish you'd have had years ago. And then what I suggest you do is write it all down and then destroy it. Throw it into the fucking ocean. Throw it onto the furnace. Burn it. Because that symbolizes reincarnation. That symbolizes reinvention. And I understand when you clicked on this live stream, you're probably expecting a few easy tricks to get any woman into bed. Yeah, I don't do that shit, dude. I ain't a dating coach. I'm not a fucking day gamer. I'm not a pickup artist. The way that I see myself is a freedom from bullshit practitioner, right? And what I've noticed is so many men today are lost, they are misguided, and they feel incomplete. And there's so many bullshit voices in the internet space, and they focus on tactics. They focus on, oh, get your Instagram profile optimized, which can be a great thing to do. But you have to have the foundations in place. Yeah, otherwise you're building a tower on sand, right? And I think the problem is a lot of the time we focus on symptoms rather than the root cause. So optimizing your Instagram profile, building out a nice looking dating app profile, working on your conversation skills, like all these things, fine. If you want to do them, do them. But it's not what you say, it's not how you say it, it's who you are when you say it. This game is a transfer of certainty. And what I've found to be true after working with over 200 guys is a lot of guys still feel like the ugly duckling on the inside. Their external or their internal hasn't caught up with their external. So when they're approaching women, they're not even talking with her. It's like they're talking with their past. They're talking with a version of themselves that they wish that they could ignore. And they're having monologues rather than collaborative conversations. They feel like one-way conversations where you're in a conversation with a woman, but you're in your head. You feel as though you're doing something wrong. You feel as though she's not enjoying it. And it's all this, does she like it? Am I enough? Radical forgiveness, dude. That's the first step. You want to reinvent yourself in 2026 and beyond. You want to have an incredible dating life. You want to attract wife-worthy women. You want to have rock star confidence. It starts with this forgiveness. Get all that dirty laundry, throw it out the fucking window, metaphorically, and allow yourself from this point onwards to be the version of yourself that you know is there. So the thing that we say all the time, yeah, confidence is not something you build. It's something you uncover. Your natural confidence is already there. It's just buried beneath years, maybe even decades, of social conditioning, sedation, fear, compliance. And you call this you. And it's not you, right? Because all we are is repeated patterns of thoughts and behavior that we've accepted over time as ourselves. And we then solidify this identity through the language that we use. So you might say things right now like, oh, I'm bad with women, or I'm a bad texter, or I can't get women because I'm an introvert. Henry Ford said it best. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way, right? And as a man thinketh, so is he. Even if it's not true, we make it true by believing in it. Yeah, this is an identity game that we're playing. And until you can allow the unconscious to become conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Again, if you want practical demonstrations, because I appreciate a lot of this is quite esoteric, but for the right person, this is hit. For the right person, this has penetrated emotionally, and you feel this like moment where it's like, fuck yes, now we made progress. But anyway, if you want to see me getting rejected back to back, if you want to see some cold approach conversations, the best content in the cold approach game, I've created it, and it's completely free. You don't need to pay me a penny. There's over 60 hours of free cold approach content, and this is designed to give you everything you need to have conversations that convert into dates and beyond, but also just understand it's not about the tactics. It's not about the skill. It's not about what you're saying. It's the identity that you build. And everything is in there. So we go, there's like deep identity level transformation stuff. There's interviews with clients. There's videos of me in the field practicing what I preach. No, it's not like theory, like, oh, here's what to do. It's like I'm showing you in the field. So yeah, first link below this video, get inside the school community, get ahead in 2026. But that's the first thing is radical self-acceptance. If this is useful to you so far, then drop it a like, because there's no way for me to communicate with you. So the only way you can communicate with me is by dropping this live stream a like. So if any of the things that I've said so far have helped you, even by 1%, drop the live stream a like. Consider subscribing to the channel as well, because we're building something special here. I don't think there's anybody else in this whole dating sphere that can compete with what we're building, because it goes so much deeper than just talking to women. Like, dude, I see other coaches, I see other channels, guys teaching cold approach, and they're not bad people, but they're just service providers. They're all the fucking same. It's like, oh, here's how you walk over, push, then pull, vibe, stack. I'm like, dude, none of this shit is gonna make a difference to the lives of men. The thing that's gonna make the difference is radical forgiveness, is identity transmutation, is changing who you are at your very core, rewiring your entire internal belief system. That's what it's about. It's not these shiny objects. It's not these simple tricks. It's not these conversation gambits. I could write the world's greatest sales scripts, but if I give it to a guy who's got terrible social anxiety, it's the worst sales script in the world. So again, it's not what you're saying. It's not how you're saying it. It's who you are when you say it. That's why you need to get into the free skill community. All that content in there is designed to cut through all the bullshit and allow you to fast track everything. I'm going to take a sip of this coffee. Woo! We're on right now. Let's go. All right. Point number 2. Imagine you're about to go on a nice holiday. Yeah? Imagine you're about to go on holiday. Beautiful tropics. You're going to go to Marbella for the weekend. You would not get on an aeroplane until you knew where you were going, because the destination determines the direction. So for a lot of guys, they're living like accidents. If you want to reinvent yourself in 2026 and you want to live a dating life which is beyond the scope of most men, you need to be crystal clear what that actually looks like. Because the problem is, guys learn cold approach, guys learn dating, guys try and acquire all these skills, but they don't know where they're going. If there's one thing you take away from this live stream, apart from the radical self-forgiveness, this has been the thing which has allowed me to reinvent myself time and time and time again. I think the beautiful thing about what I've created on this channel is there's nobody else who's documented his entire process. 5 years ago, you can look back at who I was. Evidence has got the loudest voice. There's no faking, there's no hiding. You can literally see who I was 5 years ago, how nervous I was on camera. I used to use an air purifier as a tripod. I used to have no money. I used to be a down and out fucking loser. And you can see everything on this channel. And the thing that has allowed me to go through this process of personal renaissance has been having a crystal clear idea of who I wanted to be, acting as if I already was that person, and having delusional optimism that I could be that person. This is, I would say, the greatest currency in the world, is hope. A man without hope is dead. And I think that what I'm the best at is inspiring hope inside the hopeless. Because I know what it feels like to be in the dark places. Like, I know what it feels like to know no girl wants to bang you. I know what it feels like to get women back to my place, then my dick didn't work. I know how soul-crushing that feels. I know what it's like to not be the popular kid at school. I used to have zero friends. I used to hide in the toilets during playtime because I was scared of being seen as that weird kid who was on his own. Social skills never came easy. Making friends was always a uphill struggle. I've built my social skills brick by brick. I've built myself brick by brick. Now, we've all got a genetic baseline that we're working with. Some guys do just have it easier than others. But the way you win at the game of life isn't by complaining about the hand you've been dealt. It's playing your cards to the best of your ability and having a rip-roaring good time playing the game. That's how I see life. It's control the controllables, right? What have I been dealt? What are the cards that I'm playing with? Right, let's learn how to play this to the best of my ability, and let's have delusional optimism that I can be the best at what I do. Because being delusionally optimistic, it doesn't mean that, for example, 5 years ago, I knew I wasn't the guy back then, right? I knew 5 years ago I wasn't God's gift to women. I knew I wasn't a human love potion. I knew I wasn't the best 5 years ago at daytime call approach. But I had delusional optimism that I could be. And that's what I want you to start doing as we venture into 2026. It's not about fake it till you make it. It's about we are what we pretend to be. And having delusional optimism that you can become this custom-made character. That's the beautiful thing about life, dude, is you can decide who you want to be. Yeah? It's not some law of attraction, woo-woo bullshit. It's a law of action. Yeah? So what I did 5 years ago, once I'd radically forgive myself, I created a personal renaissance document. Now, some of you might be familiar with this, but again, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. What I did was I wrote down on a piece of paper who I wanted to be, and I wrote about myself in the third person as though I'd already achieved it. So rather than being like, I want to be confident, it was Christian is the most fuckable man on the planet. And when I'm referring to myself, I'm speaking about myself as though somebody else is saying it. Because in my experience, when you refer to yourself as though somebody else is saying it, it allows the affirmation to carry greater emotional weight. So I wrote down everything that I wanted in my ideal reality, my ideal identity. And then once I had that point of reference, because remember, if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. And a lot of guys are just sleepwalking their way through life. They wake up when their best years are behind them. And they think, oh, well, it's just my luck. No, it's not. You just haven't decided. Like the first stage when people work with me one-on-one is the revelation stage. So before we even talk about cold approach, before we even talk about in-person coaching, before we even talk about, hey dude, here's the exact steps you need to take on a practical level, the first step is, who the fuck are you? And what do you actually want? Not what you've been brainwashed by the brain dead into thinking you should want to want, but what do you actually want? Who do you want to be? What do you define as a successful dating life? Because I think a lot of guys get it twisted. It's like Oscar Wilde said, most people are other people. Their lives are quotation, or their passions are quotation, their lives are mimicry. I think we have an epidemic of mimetic desire these days where we don't even know what it is that we want. We just think we should want to want what other people have told us we should want to want. But what do you want? What would you define as a successful dating life? What would you define as a successful 2026? If you could wake up tomorrow, right? Imagine you woke up tomorrow and you were living your ideal dating life. Tell me what that would look like. Paint me a vivid picture. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and you're in your ideal reality. What does that look like? What does your heart crave? What do you want? Because for a lot of guys, what I found after working with over 200 of them is most guys just want to be wanted. Most guys just want to have a best friend who they can have sex with. But I think modern media makes it seem like if you don't have 10 women on rotation, which is just a stupid fucking fallacy, if you don't have 10 women on rotation, then you're failing, bro. I think a lot of guys have lost their ability to ask themselves why. Why is that message being given to me? Learn to question things. If you receive information, don't just take it at face value. All the shit that I say to you, don't just blindly agree with it. Question it. Ask yourself, is that true? Is it true for me? Take the meat, leave the bones. You might agree with 80% of what I say, and the rest of the 20%, you might think, ha, horse shit. Great, fantastic. Being an independent thinker is an incredible way of reinventing yourself, because then you're not getting sucked in to other people's definition of success. So what do you want? Who do you want to be? Because a lot of guys are like, oh, I want to be successful with women. What the fuck does that even mean? What does being successful with women mean to you? And I think until you've defined it in crystal clear clarity, it's going to be impossible for you to achieve it. Again, you're not going to get on an aeroplane not knowing where you're going. The destination determines the direction. So before we even talk about going out there, approaching, this part here is everything. If you've not forgive yourself for all the shit you've gone through, you're going to be carrying lots of shame, lots of regret, lots of guilt. These are low frequency emotions, dude. Internal state equals external reality. The way you feel within will dictate your external reality. The girl's your mirror. She will feel what you feel. So if you're walking over there, you've not forgive yourself, you've got that dirty laundry back home, you feel like a complete piece of shit, then she's going to feel this, right? I'm not saying you need to be the finished product before you get started, but I think this element of just taking some time to reflect, to forgive yourself, to decide who it is that you want to be, and then brainwashing yourself with delusional optimism to think you can achieve it. Because the thing is, as I'm speaking here, some guys are going to get triggered by it. They're going to be like, oh, this doesn't work. This is stupid. This would never work for me. But the problem is, dude, whether you want to admit it or not, you are currently the product of the identity that you are subconsciously messaging into yourself. Yeah, even if you're not aware of it, where you're at today is a product of the decisions that you've made, and your decisions are a product of the way you perceive yourself. So where you are at today is a byproduct of the person you perceive yourself to be. Yeah, because in life, we don't get what we deserve, we get what we think we deserve. So before we even talk about the cold approaching, the practicalities, this part is so crucial. I wouldn't be where I am today unless I forgave myself, I created my personal renaissance document, and then I started acting as if I already was that person. Because again, once you've got super dialed in on the man that you want to be, the dating life you want to be living, the woman that you want to be marrying, just imagine how you would feel if you already had it. Imagine you want to have money, yeah? Well, imagine how you would feel, because it's the feeling that we're searching for, right? This is the game of emotion. Because the reason why people want money, the reason why people want women, the reason why people want materialistic success, it's not for the thing, it's for the feeling that the thing gives us. Because a lot of guys are like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, well, do you know what that feels like? And they're like, what do you mean? Because the desire to want to be a millionaire is governed by a feeling, yeah? Because if you want to be a millionaire, then you probably want to feel abundant. You probably want to have alleviated all your financial stress. You probably want to be able to go to a restaurant and just swipe your card carefree, yeah? So it's the feelings. This is the thing that we're searching for. It's not the woman, it's not the money, it's not the penthouse in Malibu. It's the feeling. And the beautiful thing is, you can create these feelings right now because you've experienced them in the past. You know what it feels like to be joyful. You know what it feels like to feel, even momentarily, abundant. You know what it feels like to be zero stress. Yeah, when you first wake up in the morning, there's like that split-second moment where you just feel at peace. Yeah, before the logical brain kicks in, that feeling is there. You're in theta state right now, and there's no. It's just clarity. It's just clear. So it's the feeling that you're searching for. So if you can fall in love with the feeling, that allows you to fall in love with your future. And again, I know this works because it's exactly what I did. And again, it might sound woo-woo, it might sound extravagant, but this is what works here. Yeah, it's not your open, it's not your text game, it's not your inability to escalate on the date. These are all symptoms of the deeper shit, which is shame, maybe sexual shame, maybe not having trust in yourself, maybe experiencing worst case scenario ahead of time. And a lot of this stuff is ingrained in childhood, in the way you perceive yourself, the way you were brought up. This is why radical forgiveness is so crucial. But yeah, having this personal renaissance document, having this clear destination about where you're going, and then just being delusionally optimistic and positively brainwashing yourself. This is why comparing yourself is one of the greatest tools that you've got at your disposal right now. Right? A lot of people comparison the thief of joy, but it depends on what you're optimizing for. I'm not optimizing for a joyful state at this period of my life. I'm optimizing for greatness. And you're probably in the same position right now. If you're anything like me, 5 years ago, I was pissed off, I was angry, I was depressed, I was sad. And what I would do is I would go onto the internet and I would find people who were living the life that I wanted to live. And I would compare myself on a daily basis. Because what I said to myself was, if these people can do it, I can do it as well. As long as it's within the realms of physics, if one man can do something, I can do it as well. So comparing yourself on a daily basis, the internet is a portal, okay? The internet will allow you to compare yourself strategically. Because I think a lack of comparison is a thief of progress. People say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's bullshit. You're the average of the 5 people you compare yourself to the most. That's why I'm putting this content out on a daily basis. That's why I put that school community together, because every single day I'm showing up. I'm giving you a glimpse of what's possible. Yeah? It doesn't mean that you need to become miniature versions of me. No, I want you to discover your own approach to life. I want you to use me as an example. Find other people that you resonate with. Build a digital tribe of comparison. So every single day, you're being positively brainwashed. Most people go onto the internet, doom scroll for an hour, and wonder why they're depressed. Because if they see a guy who's got a good body, if they see a guy who's got a hot girlfriend, if they see a guy who's living an extravagant lifestyle, they feel depressed because they don't have it. But instead of feeling depressed, use that as your motivation. Just say to yourself, listen, this guy who I'm seeing on screen right now, he's clearly made decisions in his life on a daily basis to get to where he is right now. So with enough ruthless execution, with enough faith, with enough optimism, why can't I do it as well? It's not to say you're going to have the exact same thing as him, but you compare yourself in order to accelerate the progress, right? You collapse time. So comparing yourself on a daily basis to people who inspire the absolute shit out of you, that's something that I did. Yeah, when you know who you want to be, find people who've already got it, and then just compare yourself with them on a daily basis. Brainwash yourself with positivity. So hopefully that's been useful so far. I know we've gone incredibly deep in the inner workings of the human psyche, but this is the sort of shit that I live for, dude. You know, if you're looking for somebody who's just going to give you some cheap tactics and do some weekend fucking boot camp, I ain't one of these guys, dude. There's plenty of morons online who are shipping this shit. Go find them, go pay them $10, and I'm sure you have a grand old time. I'm here to change the world, mate. I'm here to change the fucking world. I'm using the discipline of day game in order to do that. But it goes so much deeper than just talking to women, right? This is a rebellion. A rebellion against mediocrity. Because you already know it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you resonate with me on a deep level, you already fucking know it goes deeper than just talking to women. And that's what I love about this. Like, we are changing the world. Yeah? Every approach that you do, every piece of content that I put out there, it's these investments into the future. And you're not just doing it for you either. This is the thing that, it flipped the switch for me when I realized this. It's not just me that I'm doing it for. You selfish prick. Because if it was just me that I was doing it for, my motivation would dwindle. But now whenever I make decisions in my life, whether it's putting a piece of content out there, saying something provocative, doing a cold approach, sitting down with a client, doing something that I don't want to do, like going some Muay Thai, getting my 10,000 steps in, even though I'd rather stay at home and be a comatose badger. Everything that I'm doing is not just for me. It's for my future family. Yeah, it's for the mother of my children. It's for the scared little boy inside of me who felt like he was a piece of shit for most of his life. When you understand, it's not just about you. You develop an insatiable why. Yeah, Nietzsche. He who has a strong enough why can bear any how. When you make this about more than just you and about more than the gratification of your ego and the gratification of your materialistic pursuits, now it becomes something greater. Now it becomes something deeper. It's not just going out there approaching women. This is you going out there to demonstrate to your legacy, your future family, they don't need to be scared anymore. Yeah? They might feel fear. They might feel scared. They might feel nervous. They might feel apprehensive. And I understand that. But the legacy that I want to leave behind to every man who's ever come across my content, to my family, to my children, to my future wife is he lived a life free from bullshit. And if there's one thing that I got from Christian, it was dive bomb into discomfort and run towards resistance like your life depends on it. Because if not, why not? You know what I'm saying? You get one shot at this life. And I think that, for me, I've always had this zoomed out perspective. I think a really great reframe for you who's watching this right now, in terms of reinventing yourself in 2026, is what happens if you don't do it, right? What happens if another fucking year goes by and it's the same shit again? Yeah? Same behavior or same conditions, same outcome. Yeah? Then you fucked it, right? Because the last thing that you want to do is be another one of these, I don't even know what to call them, let's just call them resolution wankers. The people who every single year